It's Friday, February 10th, and time for your Barbados Today morning update. Thanks for joining us. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. We begin with reaction to the newly launched United Progressive Party. The UPP, led by former Barbados Labour Party Senator Lynette Eastman, now brings to 5 the number of political parties that voters have to choose from when they cast their ballots in the general election, constitutionally due next year. Eastman has yet to launch her full slate of candidates. However, Dr. David Estwick, who defeated Eastman in the last 3 polls, paid little attention to the latest political party. He told Barbados Today, quote, "If after 3 election defeats, 2003, 2008 and 2013, this is how she wants to spend her time, I wish her well in her endeavors," end quote. Now, political scientist Peter Wickham also weighed in on the latest developments, saying he did not believe the UPP will make much of a difference on the political landscape.
It doesn't excite me politically, and I don't think it's anything that would change any of the major outcomes in Barbados at this time. That's my basic position on it. Lynette Eastman is not a political heavyweight. She, to the best of my knowledge, never won an election. And my question is, how does she, in that kind of context, expect to anticipate making a serious impact on politics? And I think we have to wait to see whether she has other people waiting in the wings that may be able to come out and achieve something where she failed. So that would be my sense. I don't know that it's going to make any huge difference.
Okay.
I congratulate her for starting a new party, and it's always a difficult thing to do, and that's something that we ought to recognize.
Okay.
But, there's nothing that excites me politically in it. The other thing I have concerns about where she is concerned is that I get a sense that this new party is less about an alternative economic or political philosophy, more about the fact that she has difficulties with the current leadership of the Barbados Labour Party.
The UPP, the Barbados Integrity Movement, and Solutions Barbados are seeking to reshape the political landscape dominated by the ruling Democratic Labour Party and the opposition Barbados Labour Party. Tourism Minister Richard Seeley dismisses critics of Airbnb, insisting the short-term rental facilitator is contributing significantly to the island's bread and butter industry. News emerged this week that a growing number of Barbadians were offering their homes to visitors as short-term rentals through Airbnb, with 1,100 Barbadian properties listed on its website. Hoteliers have complained that the global online marketplace was undermining the traditional accommodation sector by affecting occupancy and eating into their income. However, the tourism minister has rubbished the idea.
While we hear people complaining about the Airbnb taking all of their business, Airbnb themselves had the massive sum of 16,000 people that used Airbnb in 2016 in a record year, a year that saw 632,000 people coming to Barbados. So we're talking about 2% of the people using Airbnb. So I think that we have to recognize that we are dealing with people who will book their vacations using different mechanisms, and that in itself is a lesson for all of us and vindicates the government's decision to create the Barbados Tourism Product Authority.
A new multi-million-dollar facility catering to children in crisis is expected to be in operation in Barbados in another year and a half. Director of the Psychiatric Hospital, David Leacock, tells Barbados Today the unit, which is to be built on the institution's compound, should cost about $2 million.
We are seeking to have an on-site children's unit that will hopefully address persons who are in acute crisis, who are unable to function in the home setting, where we can't just, let's say, manage and then send them back home to the families. They may in turn have issues with the family that require them to be removed from the family setting and be managed clinically on site. And we're hoping to have that, as I said, hopefully within the next year or two, have that clinic complete, that facility completed on site.
In sports, after 10 years of supremacy, Blue House have surrendered their inter-house title to Greenhouse, the new athletics champions at St. George Secondary. Nothing can be taken away from Blue House, who fought a good battle, but were unable to finish the track and field war against an ever-determined Greenhouse yesterday at the National Stadium. It was a keenly contested, nail-biting showdown that went down to the final relay of the day, and a mere 3 points separated the victorious Greenhouse, who had 995 points, from Blue House 992. Purple House's 973 points got them into third place, and Red House finished fourth with 820 points. Basketball now. The 2016 Massy United Insurance Senior Girls Basketball League title will remain at Government Hill for a second consecutive year. Springer Memorial held firm with a 45-43 result against a strong St. Michael School team yesterday afternoon at Martindale's Road, St. Michael. The contest went into extra time, and the victorious side, coached by Francis Thompson and Dean Squires, were the ones screaming, chanting and dancing when referee Gillian Martindale sounded the final whistle.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Get your paper, get your paper. Only $2.25, $2.20. Who? For what? That's Bear Stale News. I don't read about that on Barbados today since last night. That can't only can't do. $2.20. Who?
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
To news from the region, child sexual abuse advocates in the Cayman Islands are not happy with the penalties in place for perpetrators. In fact, they believe the situation as it stands emboldens perpetrators and discourages victims from coming forward.
Community activist Sandra Hill says the penalties for those convicted of child sex abuse should be sending a clear message.
This behavior is, number one, unacceptable. Number two, if you're caught engaged in this behavior, you will see some severe penalties. And as it stands right now, unfortunately, that isn't the case.
She's advocating for the creation of a child welfare office to work with parents, social services, police, and the courts on such issues, as well as a dedicated court for sexually based offenses.
And that type of perpetrator is a very different perpetrator from anyone else. And I think the judges need to comprehend and understand what it is that they're working with, so they can dole out appropriate sentences and they're not so easily convinced to give someone a slap on the hand, especially for repeat offenders and stuff like that.
Now, it's important to note that each case has its own unique set of circumstances. Hard evidence, witness testimony, and other variables differ from case to case and ultimately inform a judge's decision.
Having faith in the system would really increase the amount of reports that we get, because there's so many that just don't get reported, that people just don't want to go through.
On the international scene, the United States Appeals Court upholds the suspension of President Donald Trump's travel ban. The 9th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals said it would not block a lower court ruling that brought the president's executive order that banned visitors from 7 mainly Muslim countries to a halt. Trump maintains that the order was made because national security was at risk. However, the court says there is insufficient evidence of a terror threat from those countries. The president quickly responded to the latest ruling via Twitter, saying, quote, "See you in court. The security of our nation is at stake."
In response to the president's tweet, well, we have seen him in court twice, and we're 2 for 2. That's number one. And in my view, the future of the Constitution is at stake. That's at stake as well. And look, we respect that the president has broad authority when it comes to issuing executive orders, but they still have to follow the Constitution. That's the bottom line. And we firmly believe that this executive order does not. We're not just saying that now. The day we filed this complaint, I said I was confident that we were going to prevail for 2 reasons. I feel very confident in our claims, number one, and very confident in the team behind me to assert those claims in court. So, frankly, the decisions so far do not surprise me. The president does have a choice. He can continue to fight this, or he can tear up this executive order and start over. I would strongly encourage him to consider the latter course of action.
And that's news. There's more on our website at www.barbadostoday.bb. Also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're also on Izumi Media and bus terminals and screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you, as well as Channel 99 on Flow TV and the Mix 96.9 FM. I'm Fernella Wedderburn. Good morning.